taboo, sensual touch. Erotic, taboo, sensual touch. Erotic, taboo, sensual touch.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Instagrammers, YouTubers, Facebookers. You're listening to the Intimacy Chronicles. I am your host and creator, Queen Jackie. Shout out to the Quiet Storm. He's not able to make it tonight. And Dr. Love, I guess, will be joining us momentarily. Tonight we have a very exciting show. I have Jay ESQUIRE.
Yeah.
And he's going to be serenading us tonight. He's going to get a little live with us because y'all know how we get down. And then I have the lovely A. Michelle joining. And I got to give her a big shout out because she supports me every week. And I love and appreciate her for that. So I'm so excited to have her in the building. They say she has on her Preakness dress for my Baltimore people. She's just missing the hat. So we're going to piggyback on our topic from last week. Last week the question was asked, who cheats more, or do women cheat more? Most of my men said women cheat more. I believe women cheat better, but not more. I think men say we cheat more to take the attention off of them. Did you start coughing on that statement? So, but before we get to our topic, today I read something about Mary Bubala losing her job. Did you hear about that, Nick?
Oh my God, that's so heartbreaking.
I do believe that it was not
that shit
warranted.
is some bullshit.
It is some bullshit. She's a journalist, and that was a legitimate question that she asked. And it's a conversation that we need to have. And I felt like WJZ did not have her back on this. Nothing about the question was racist. It is a result of the history of the last 10 years. So why can't we have a discussion about that without this young lady losing her job? I feel like she's always been a fair reporter. So why should she lose her job for that bullshit?
So disappointed.
I was very disappointed because, like I said, she's always been fair, and it's the right question to ask. You know, we've been in turmoil for the last 10 years. So if we can't have a discussion about that, then how will the city ever move forward? Yeah, we can't, because we can't even talk about it because some of us are so damn sensitive. So I really have a problem with that, and I feel like if your job is a journalist, why should there be censorship on what you ask, especially when it's a legitimate question? It wasn't like she was bashing, the last three mayors. It's a statement of fact.
Yeah.
So
and they're trying to say she's racist. That's
she's
some bull.
Right, exactly. I feel like they use racism a lot of times to hide behind the bigger picture. They want to distract us with racism. Not everything comes down to racism, and that's a legitimate question to ask. Mm-hmm. So that was just my, I had to say something about that because I was like instantly annoyed. And the thing that annoyed me the most was it's a lot of us that's saying she's racist. That's a valid question. What is racist in the truth?
We don't want to live in the truth.
Exactly.
Folk do not want to live in the truth.
Absolutely.
Because it hurts to live in the truth.
Because it hurts, but how are we going to heal? How are we going to move the city forward if we can't have a discussion about it?
Because you got to get to the root of the problem.
Exactly.
And
So
not to say that her question pertaining to the race and the sex of the situation, because it could have been a male or whatever.
Exactly.
It's not to say that was her view. I mean, I've watched this woman for many years.
That's exactly what I said.
I've watched her for many years, and you can tell people body language and the things that they say.
Right.
If they have any form of that in them.
Right.
And she is not one
exactly
that I get that with.
And I just felt like, given, that segment, that was a very valid question to ask. And if you can't talk about it like that, then we definitely have a bigger problem. So I just wanted to kind of like shed light on that, and I hope that WJZ have the balls to bring her back.
Well, until some voices are said, some things are being said, and not so much her voice, but others. Because they said something about her wanting to even come and apologize,
but they wouldn't allow. They wouldn't even allow to do that. And so, I feel like that. If you can't allow her to, first of all, I don't feel like she has to apologize for anything, for asking a question that needed to be asked.
Yeah, she what they call it? She hit the elephant in the room.
Exactly, and they're not ready to talk about it. I was going to say that, but every time I say that term, y'all bust out laughing as if there's some propaganda behind it. But I mean, she shouldn't have lost her job. That's the bottom line, and I feel like they owe her.
Back. She gonna go to Fox.
And I know that, but I feel like they owe her an apology.
That's where they all seem to go.
Yeah, all of them go to Fox. Fox is like the throwback.
Creative freedom,
they're like the throwback TV station of Baltimore or something.
And they're not afraid to get out in front of controversy.
Yeah, so they'll start the controversy.
Exactly.
They're super drama driven.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's great for ratings.
Yeah, they will run one death.
Yes, forever.
Yeah,
forever.
They're gonna work it from every angle until the next one happens.
Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. So we're gonna move on from that because I could get in a rant about certain things, especially when it comes to injustice, and I feel like she was definitely not treated fairly for asking a question that needs to be asked. Perhaps if these questions were asked a couple of years ago, maybe we wouldn't be in the situation that we're in now.
Facts.
If people hate to snatch the sheets off of a situation, they would rather for that shit to blow up as opposed to getting out in front of it. And I am a firm believer in owning your shit. So, with that being said, we're going to go back to last week's topic. And since we have guests with us tonight, I like to get their point of view. Who do you think cheat more, women or men?
I don't know who cheats more, but I think that women cheat deeper.
Yeah, and elaborate on that.
Well, because I think that they cheat from a perspective of needing something more concrete than men. We're looking for the moment. We live in the moment. Men, we're sentimental in all our moves. You know what I'm saying? Like, we need things that we can play back and we can own for life. You know what I mean? But it doesn't. The cast needs to change though, you know what I mean. But with women,
I like that.
They're looking for a situation usually where it could lead to something, or it could be that thing that makes them feel how they've never felt or how they don't feel now. Right. And we don't particularly need that. We just need a night with you, and
that's it.
Sometimes, but I mean the roles can switch too.
True.
So, but I do think that usually women cheat deeper than men.
And I have to agree because we are most of the time looking for emotional support. And we can have conversations with our men to discuss emotional support. And a lot of times what happens is it's viewed upon as we are complaining. And so, and I say this to men all the time, be very careful when we stop talking. Because that means we've disconnected from the relationship. So, but I think...
We thought it was a break.
Time out.
It's time out.
All right.
But you've been tagged out.
That's what it
is. You've been tagged out, bruh. So, and I think it's so important to understand the difference. I'm not saying that that's why all women cheat. I'm going to say that the majority of us, when we cheat, it's for emotional support.
But that we're not getting. The roles have changed.
I agree.
What I mean?
Yeah.
So, you will find a lot more women, especially women in their, their late 30s, early 40s, and things of that nature, looking for a good time.
Yeah.
More than anything. So, just when I go do shows or anywhere I'm at, I see those kinds of behaviors in those women more than anything. So, it's changing. I know more men that want to get married than women at this point. I know more men
that a lot
that
now.
want relationships more than I know women that want relationships. I see more men comfortable in them than I see women comfortable in them these days. So
I would have to agree, because nowadays a lot of women are career driven and they don't want a relationship to
hinder.
Yeah, because I think sometimes, not all, but some men may have a problem and may want you to put that career on hold. And now today's woman isn't willing to do that. And she shouldn't have to. If she has the right partner and they can come to some type of compromise. But I would have to agree there. I think that you brought up a great point, especially in terms of age group, because I had statistics last week. So between the age of 20 to 35, those group of women, the cheating was, the rate was higher in that group of women versus the men of that age group, which I thought was really interesting. What I also found interesting, the age group from 75 to 85, those group of men cheated more than the age group of 40 to 55.
And of course, they had more knowledge. They got more age on them.
And it's so funny.
They remember all that old pussy.
But, and I think Viagra and Cialis and the pump has given them that.
They hitting the young ones too.
Exactly.
Yeah, them girls trying to get that SS money.
Well, it's not. Back in the day, if you're trying to get the SS money, you didn't have to work as hard. Today, you got to work a little harder when you got Viagra and shit on the market. I'm just saying, you can't just kiss them on the forehead and say, okay, now can I have the $500?
They trying to go in.
You got to work.
They trying to put the tip in.
You really got to work.
Let me put the head in, girl.
I think from 20 to 30, everybody is just trying to find their center. Everybody trying to find their normal. You know what I mean? Like, for me, having like homegirls that are in their 20s that tell me things about why they did what they did.
Right.
And, women I know in their 30s the same way, and then, so on and so forth. But I happen to notice that the women that I know that are in their 20s to 30 tend to be looking to see who they are in those types of things. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But I mean, we do the same thing. We looking to see what it is too, and a lot of us are trying to live up to the hype of the stories that we were told. You know what I mean? And,
right.
And trying to make our mark too. So plus our hormones are raging, man.
Yeah, and I think that's a very great point, because while your hormones are raging, when y'all get to that slow down point, ours is just being kicked up into high gear. So
that's if we slow down.
That's if you slow down, which is true. But I think you all tap out way before us. I'm going to say that.
We start way before you too.
That's true. So it's not. Sometimes the scale isn't always balanced. But it doesn't mean that it can't be fixed, or that you all can't find other ways of pleasing one another. I think that you have to be open-minded to explore. And talking about exploring, let me just ask a question to my singer over here. How explorative are you? And as far as intimacy?
I'm a Scorpio.
What does that mean?
I live that all day, every day. I'm down to pretty much try anything. Just about.
Just about. What's your limit? Because you said just about.
You're not putting nothing nowhere in me.
Why did I know you were gonna
that
say
should be every man limit. You know
I know guys that
some guys
they they do what they do.
They do what they do.
I for one am not one of those guys.
Okay.
So, but other than that, let's do it. I always say that I'm somewhere between the preacher and the porn star.
Okay.
So, I can give you, I can drop some knowledge and drop some deal on you. So it just depends.
All right, I like that. How about you?
I'm eating right now.
I'm not talking about you over there. Because she knew I was.
She got her first lady dress.
She was sitting over there like
she is a woman of the cloth.
I hope she don't come to me with this mess.
She got on the preacher's wife
dress.
Not
do those things. She prays and she fasts and she fasts and she prays.
You know what they say about them church women, right?
Okay, hello. Didn't we just have that discussion?
What they say about the church.
Yes, Lord.
I have no shame in my game. But I'm not. But I have no shame in my game.
All right. So you're not explorative?
You very much so.
Okay.
Very much so. Okay. But that is with a significant other. It's not just
with anybody.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, man, back there in the corner, how explorative are you?
I'm NASA.
I can't
I'm with my homeboy over here. Outro only.
Okay.
No intros over here.
No intros. Okay. So, are you guys open to dressing up in costume?
It matters on what costume.
Yeah, I would.
So, if I said I want you to dress like Prince.
Nah.
I'm not putting no ass out jeans on.
And that's exactly what I would be asking for.
You ain't gonna catch me
I'm not
cameos. No, you're not.
To turn you on and entertain.
It's just you and I. So what's the problem?
That's enough.
Oh my God! So no whips or handcuffs.
Yeah, I do the whip.
I mean, but that's not a dress up.
Okay, but it's part. It can be part of a costume for some of us. I'm just saying.
Okay. I mean, I wear them if I can wear some sweatpants under them.
So Dr. Love has been quiet. So let me just ask him: how explorative are you?
You already know.
But they don't. So
I'm a Gemini.
I don't know what that means.
What the fuck is all these
signs?
That means both of us get sit in. We very explorative.
Both his personality.
Both his
personalities.
Both of them.
Okay. So
especially the other one.
What's the most
craziest thing you ever done?
Yeah.
See, I couldn't hear you because that one over there.
Because of that one?
Yeah.
Well,
what was the question?
What's the craziest thing you ever done in a bedroom? You need a moment?
It was a couple.
Just pick one.
A couple of them. Is my mic on?
Yeah.
DJ?
You on?
You on?
I can't
hear myself. You don't need to hear yourself.
Not like I usually can. Turn me up with my headphones.
Exactly.
It was one time I turned the girl into a Sunday.
I knew it was gonna be about some food.
Exactly.
Fuck you, man.
Are you on your
I turned her into a Sunday, so I we got all the toppings or whatever, and I decorated her like a Sunday, and just and then went from there. And then there was one time where I think something had happened. I had a young lady coming over, but I wasn't in the mood, and so I wanted to get myself into the mood. Now this is crazy, right?
Here we go.
So what happened was I had went to Arby's earlier that day. Okay, please just know, Queen. Went to Arby's earlier that day, so I laid on.
Arby's.
So I laid on the bed, and I started putting these sandwiches on me.
I'm not even able to do it.
To try to get myself into the relaxed mood, So I pretended like each sandwich was like a young lady saying, "Hey Nate, hey Nate, hey Nate. And then after that, I was in the mood. I was ready. Don't fucking judge me.
I'm not judging, but my question is, what was it about the meat that put you in the mood?
You know, Arby's, they've been saying this. We have all the meat.
They got the beef or the meat.
We got the meat.
Yeah.
He had the meat.
He had the meat. Okay, to each his own.
I wanted.
They probably were all different sandwiches.
I wanted to be the meat in order to
be the meat.
Be the meat.
No, not.
You went with that.
No, I know, but not. Listen, that's like somebody hopping on the back of a trailer, and I just did that. No, to be the meat.
You got to be the meat.
I wanted to be the meat in order to be the meat. You know what?
Okay, let me go to my singer. What's the craziest thing or the wildest thing you've ever done?
Oh man. Well, I can't top that. Clearly. The food was eaten at dinner, it digested, and I kept it moving. Oh, the craziest thing. I don't think anything that I've done is crazy. Wild. I mean, probably the craziest moment was me and a couple of my fellas. This chick just randomly, this is years ago, just randomly runs out the club after us, and she's like, I want to kick it with y'all. And she was from another country and everything. And you know, they wasn't falling for it at first. I was, so, but she was like, I'm not gonna go with y'all unless you guys are from where I'm from. So my homeboys are like, so I pretend to be from there, and I set up names for all of us and all of that. And long story short, she caught the work, and that was a good time. And you know, from that we, you know, and thank you, and you know, it was a good time had. And I mean, you know, I've had moments where, well, days where maybe it was one chick here, one chick there, one chick there, you know, 3-4 in a day.
Yeah, the smorgasbord.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. So being a singer, and I'm sure women probably approach you often, while you're on stage, has anyone ever thrown their underwear at you?
Yes.
And how do you respond to that?
You don't. You don't even know. Sometimes you don't even know where they coming from.
Okay.
I've had those thrown at me. I've had socks. I've had headbands. And, you know, it just depends. But I mean, you just kind of keep going. It's always like in the middle of the song, but they throw them so you know that they threw them.
Right.
You know what I mean? They hit you in the head or hit your arm. It's on your shoulder while you're singing. Or,
so they got good aim.
Yeah. So
that is funny.
Yeah, I've had that happen. Absolutely.
Okay.
I was just talking about that today, as a matter of fact. Just talking about it, maybe an hour ago. Yeah.
That's interesting. So
I've had that happen to me while I was DJing.
It goes with the territory.
You're not doing it right if they don't do something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I've never thrown my panties at
I had a chick came up to me while I was DJing and put her panties on my head.
Oh, no,
that she
I don't
had
trust
on?
that.
Or
I don't know
panties?
where the fuck she got them from.
I don't trust that.
I was fucking heated.
Really?
No, I don't know what you.
I stopped the music.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That's why I asked. Was it
heated.
Or because I think that's disrespectful. You know.
Yeah.
To actually put your panties on someone's head. So Michelle.
Well, I mean, it's all of it is a form of flattery, to some degree, you know. And as an artist or as a DJ and all of that, for some reason, especially with male musicians or any male that's in music or entertainment, whether we like it or not, we're a fantasy. I don't know why you wouldn't like it, but you're a fantasy. You know what I'm saying? Even like male gospel singers, you are a fantasy. It's something about, because that I always say that the microphone amplifies who you are. You know what I mean? The stage, you know, you're on top. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So it represents power. So you're gonna get some kind of response, especially if you're good at what you do. True. You're gonna get some kind of response.
And if you ain't getting no response, you ain't good.
Is that what it is?
You know what? Sometimes everybody's different. I mean, I've had shows where it's somebody staring you dead in your face your whole performance, and you like, oh, they're not enjoying it. And when it's over, that's the first person that comes up to you and tells you that they enjoyed your show. Sometimes they just don't know how to take it. They're trying to take you in. They're trying to figure you out. And this is sometimes they're captivated by what you do if it's a good night. So everybody's different. You know, like even with the fellas, like just like if you don't get the women acting a fool, or you saying, but if you don't see the dudes like leaning back and really staring at you, and they look at their mans, and then you know they shake their head of approval, then maybe you don't have something. But everybody's response is different. You know what I mean? True. Even if you're doing an arena show, there's gonna be somebody in the middle of the show that's not moving like everybody else is. It could be the greatest song ever, but it just don't move them the same way. So it all depends. You know what I mean? You never know. It's a toss up every night.
That's true. I'm not, when I go to concerts, I'm not the holler and scream type, but in my mind, I am visualizing that one night affair. But don't fucking judge me.
That's what I'm saying. You see what I'm see, that's what I'm saying.
Like, I might not, right, and that's why I can understand what you were saying, because I'm not the one that's going to get up, holler, throw my panties up on the stage. But in my mind, the fantasies that are being played out, oh my God, help me somebody.
I know that's right.
I be having a moment within a moment. I'm just saying, don't fucking judge me. Okay?
Nah, no judgment. No judgment.
So it's different for everybody. It's different for everybody. And I think sometimes, you know, we all have that fantasy about being with our favorite singer or movie star or whatever the case may be. And I think that's a normal fantasy to have, as long as you keep it, I guess, civil in a sense, where you're not stalking somebody trying to make that fantasy happen. But I would imagine you've seen quite a bit as a singer. Quite a bit
as just being a young man and having a good time and being out there. I've seen quite a bit, absolutely.
Now, do you take your shirt off on stage or none of that?
Nah, I ain't gotta do all that.
Okay.
Because you gotta, you know what, I believe in, like, Luther Vandross's method. Like, you gotta make music where people can imagine, too. You know what I'm saying? Like, I look at, a lot of times I feel like when the dudes start doing that, they don't have anything else. Just depending upon who it is and how they do it. Okay. But they just in the middle of the song and they just rip it off. It's like you're not getting what you wanted, or you're not secure. Right. You're not secure enough in your artistry to just stand there or go
becoming a gimmick.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And at that point, they're not feeling the song no more.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I might tease and maybe like unbutton a little bit, maybe. It depends, and it depends on what you got on. It depends on how hot it is on the stage.
And the song.
And the song, absolutely. Yeah.
And no two shows are alike. You know what I mean? You may have a show that's super sexy and super intimate. You may have the next show just loud, and then the next show is just quiet.
It's quiet, and
you don't know what's going on. So it just depends on how you how it flows that night. I think for any artist, you gauge the crowd.
So good thing you said that. So as an artist, could I know a little bit about? Cause I used to make the show tapes and stuff for people. So do you, when you using a live band, do you have different sets for different modes? Whereas though you like, hold up, I see how this night going. Let me go over to my MD and tell him, yo, let's go with this set.
I might extend or shorten a song.
Right.
Yeah. I liken that also to like being a quarterback. Like you got to be able to read plays. You got to be able to gauge.
That's a great analogy.
What's happening? Yeah. And I know when we can elongate a slow song, or it's like, yo, right before a song starts. Cut that song. Right. This is not the crowd for that. Right.
Right.
You know what I mean? They want it slower. Like,
right.
Don't let that play. You know what I mean? So actually, you know, I might be able to just run over real quick, like, hey, look, cut the next song out. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or cut that song. I don't want to sing that song tonight. So you got to be able to do that, and your band has to know you like you know them. And they have to be able to ride with you. You know, on the whim, like I might call a guitar solo right there. You know what I mean? But I'll let them know. But it's like, yo, think of something, because I'm gonna call you at some point, just to keep it fresh, just to keep it moving.
Something different.
Absolutely.
Now, as a singer, is it hard to maintain a relationship?
Yes, absolutely. I think that anything that you're trying to do and you have a passion for it, no matter what it is, it's very hard because it's time consuming. Anything you're really trying to do and you believe in it and you're building it, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
You know, it could be, you know, times where you're not home all week. You know what I mean? You could be in your city but never home.
Right.
You know, and not really available. I know there are times where, just even with my friends, like, I may not even realize I haven't talked to them all week. I didn't spend more time with her building something than anyone else, and then it's like I didn't even realize that I ain't talked to so and so in 10 days. You know what I mean? You might look at the last text and it's like that was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, time gets away from you when you're working on your brand.
Yeah.
I completely understand that. It's like, oh shoot, I'm supposed to call.
Yeah.
You know, but time gets away from you because you're really focused on what you're building.
Everybody in my my life and my circle, including my children, they do understand, you know, what it is that we're doing and what I'm trying to do and what it could mean to get there, what it will mean when we get there. So everybody's on board with that. You know what I mean?
That's great. It's great to have a good support system.
The hardest part to me is the last minute stuff. You know what I mean? When a show comes up and you got to roll with it, or something that's very impromptu. Those tend to be the hardest. Those tend to be the stressors right there. Because when you know it's coming, you good. You know what I mean?
Because you planned for it.
Yeah. Even if it's a show and she says, hey, we got a show next week, they need 3 songs, I know what's going to happen. I know what I'm going to do. I planned it out. Even if I don't get to rehearse, I know the songs. I know you know how it's going to go down. But you definitely get those moments where it's like an impromptu interview, an impromptu recording session, or whatever it is. You just gotta be ready for it, and it's not always easy. But if you love it, you go with it.
Exactly. So how did the two of you meet?
Last year, I put out my debut album, Imperfect Gentleman, and I went to do an interview at Baltimore Flavor Radio. Shout outs to Antoine Grant and my man Jay McGraw, and she was one of the co-hosts. And when I went, the album wasn't out just yet, but I had promo copies of the CD. I had the CDs. So I gave her one, and she was just really impressed with how I was moving, not really realizing that I was doing everything on my own. So she was extremely supportive. Like every move I was making, she would show up to things, and you know, just you know, keep encouraging, and also, you know, talking to me about the possibility of me of managing me. And at the time, I didn't really feel like I had enough to manage. I felt like I could manage what I was doing. You know what I mean? And the focus was making sure that the album was out, that it was on streaming, that the CD was out, that the album was everywhere I needed it to be at. So me and my crew, we were moving through the streets a certain kind of way. So for me at the time, it was like, you know, we got this on lock, and it was a few people that came with that offer. And finally, you know, the last time we really got up and talked about it, it felt right. I felt like we were both in the headspace where this could work for us, and we were both in a position to build together. You know what I mean? Because it's all about timing.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So we were able to, you know, just kind of sit down and have a meeting of the minds, and we were on the same page, and we want the same thing. It may not always be the exact same move, but it's the same, you know, outcome that we're both looking for. So it's working out well.
What I've noticed about A. Michelle is she's very focused and committed, and she will fight hard for her artists. When I get an email 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning and I wake up like, what? I haven't even had my damn coffee yet. I feel like you need someone like that in your corner. She's always working for her artists, and I love her level of commitment. So I think that you're in great hands.
Thank you.
She definitely is passionate about what she does.
Very much so.
Yeah. So I listen to More and Sexy Things.
Hey.
I think Sexy Things is like that's my costume night. I knew she was gonna like it. I knew she was gonna like it. That's the one I picked for you. More is my when I wanna be made love to, you know.
Okay.
But Sexy Things is like, oh no, that's Tina Turner night. You know? But I picked More for the video because I wanted people to see that R&B still exists. Good R&B still exists.
Thank you.
So that's why I used it for the video.
Okay.
But you have a hot sound.
Thank you.
I was sitting there like, oh, wait, hold up. Because I love the music. And I knew that my audience would love the music too. So I gotta ask you, and it's not to put you on the spot, but can you give us some acapella?
What you want to hear?
Let's do More. You're gonna play More, right?
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Let's play More, but then I want
I was
him
going
to
to sing it right now.
Oh no, he wants to sing it.
Okay.
Yeah. Do your thing.
Do what you want. You got me, baby. Do what you do. Girl, you drive me crazy. Don't let me go. Girl, I'm so addicted. Your love's what I've been missing, baby. Hey, making love. Whoa, yeah. Baby, you got me wanting. Got me one more. More.
That's what I'm talking about. Now y'all see why I say More is like that make love kind of song.
I call it, you know what? I call it the Blue Light record.
The Blue Light record.
Like,
okay.
True story, before the record was recorded, I had went to a show in D.C. and it was dark. It was at like the U Street Hall. Y'all ever been there? U Street Hall. It's really it's like dark in there. It's like a haunted house dark, and the only lights that you really see are on the stage. So it's super intimate lighting. You feel what I'm saying? Like, if we were standing next to each other and we were all there together, you wouldn't even know it. You know what I mean? And after the show was over, they had a DJ come through, and he was playing like all of these really mid-tempo, sexy, seductive records. And I was just watching how the women were moving. Even with the men, I watch how everybody responds to everything. Like, I'm analytical like that. Like, I was watching my man over here with his eyes up. I know he's thinking. I'm like, I'm the same way. Yeah. So when it came time to do that record, I remember being in the studio, and even my engineer said to me, he's a 65-year-old white guy. And he was like, this record reminds me of when I was a kid and I'd be in a basement party and the blue lights would be on. Yeah. And at first we were calling the song Blue Light because it was like everybody saw the blue light. And so that record, every time to this day when I hear it, I hear that vibe. You know what I mean? And I wanted it to be a thing where it felt like the lyrics were caressing the woman, like I'm holding you on that record. So I'm big on that. Like, I visualize. If I can't see the record, then I don't create it. If it doesn't make sense, if I don't feel like it's gonna affect you, or it's gonna have a life, because once you make those records, you breathe life into them.
Absolutely.
So they live. You know what I mean? So I wanted to make sure that every record that I made, or every song that made my album, had its own life force, and that's been the blessing in my album, that every song has had fans. You know what I mean? And it may have taken somebody a while to come around to a song, but at the end of the day, like, I have like snapshot pictures of someone playing every song off the album. I have video clips of people singing even the intro on the album. So it's definitely been a blessing. But I believe that music should be targeted. I believe that you should make the music that you that helps make the world go round. No matter what it is that you do, you got to make music. I was just my little brother is just starting to make music, and I said to him, don't just make it for sound.
Yeah.
Make it for feel too. People have to feel what you're saying. People have to, you have to be big on your inflections.
Right.
You have to be big on you have to emote. You have to do all of those things. Don't just sing in front of a mic, because it doesn't feel like anything if you don't. And even on my album, I made sure that sometimes I was singing outside of the chord. Like, I wasn't singing completely on the chord all the time, because I wanted certain words to inflect. And when I was singing perfect, it would be whack. It would be boring. We'd all be in the studio like, I mean, it's perfect, but... So I would literally go right back in and be like, let's dirty this up. You know what I mean? Like, as long as the harmonies were perfect and the melodies were on point, I didn't mind ad-libs being a little out, a little sharp here. You know what I mean? A little atonal there. So, you have to definitely... That's what I think is missing. And I hate to sound like that guy that's like what's missing in music today, but I was talking to somebody too about how people don't do chord changes anymore. People don't take risks. Like, everybody just sings in their mid-range. Everything is just real, and people are like, this is amazing, and I'm like, it's nice, but where's the bridge? Where's that? Who's gonna hold the note? Can you hold a note? Like, can you sing from the depths of your soul, or are you just singing from your mind? It always sounds like it's from the mind. So that was a big reason why the album's called Imperfect Gentleman. Like, I did not want it to be a perfect album. As far as notes and everything went, I was thinking Diary of a Madman by Jodeci. Like, that's my favorite group. So that was the feeling needs to come back, I think, more than anything.
Yeah, people want to be, when I hear music, I want to be drawn into the song. I love a lot of older groups, but if I think about some of the artists today, like, I'm a big fan of Anthony Hamilton, because he has that old school soulfulness that draws you in to his music.
That grittiness.
Yes, exactly. And he's not trying to fit in like everybody else. It's music that he knows he would want to listen to. That's the kind of music I like. I'm always open for new artists, because I feel like there's still people making good music, and we have to give them the opportunity and the support. Sometimes I don't feel like we are as supportive as we can be. When I look at some of the older entertainers where our community gets fickle and may not support, but then they go overseas. And they're huge. I look at, and just using Smokey Robinson as an example, he's had longevity because he's never fit in. He's always been able to reinvent himself, and he still tours. People of all ages can relate to him. I think that there's still not a lot of us buying his music now because he doesn't have anything current out, but still, he's made good music, and it doesn't make sense that they would go to foreign countries and blow up even bigger, and here we don't give them the support that we should.
I've always felt that way, because the masses, because the labels tell us this isn't the sound anymore.
Right,
this is
exactly.
What you're gonna listen to. We're gonna pay for this record to go on the radio, and there's no records that break the monotony. Like, I can remember when all of the R&B stuff was like really in. In the middle of it, they played Erykah Badu on and on. Completely different from what Mary was doing, and Jodeci and Faith and all those other people were doing. And radio used to have, they used to do things like that. Now it's literally programmed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've sent records to them, and they're like, I really like this, but I can't play it. I really like it's too... It's too R&B for what we're doing. We're doing this, and they play you with or send you a reference to what they playing. But for me, that's the beauty in it, because it's like, okay, so that means that when you hear me, you're not gonna think I'm him.
Exactly.
You're not gonna think like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I love that about what I do, and our movement, and what I love about A. Michelle is she understood it immediately. Because I actually asked her. Now that I'm remembering, she was just doing. She was going with the flow with the interview and sort of listening, but not really listening to the music. And I remember saying to her, I said, "Hey, do me a favor. When you go home, you seem like you're honest. Can you listen to the album and tell me what you think? If you don't like it, just let me know. I just need to hear it from an honest ear."
Right, yeah.
And so she, not only did she tell me she liked it, she could tell me what she liked about it, what songs meant the most, what songs she felt like had the impact. Like, I like when you sing this, I like when you do this, I like when you do that. That's the ear candy too. I feel like people are avoiding that. You know what I mean? So that's where I stand at with it.
And why singing? Why did you choose that, or did it choose you?
It chose me. I come from a lineage of singers. My dad is the lead singer of an R&B group from Baltimore called the Soft Tones.
I love the Soft Tones.
He's the lead singer. He's the guy with the high voice.
My favorite song was "I'm in Love."
Love Minus One. That's my dad singing the lead.
That's my favorite song, and I have that on my rotation.
You know, he still sounds just like that.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he's 66. He's a doctor now.
Oh wow!
But they still do shows.
Okay.
And then Valerie Simpson from Ashford and Simpson is our cousin, my dad's cousin, and Cisco from Drew Hill is our cousin. So
gotcha.
And my great grandfather was a singer. He sounded like my dad. And then my uncles were singers, and we've just always been a family of it. I actually wanted to box. Because when I was a kid, I fought so much.
Okay.
I was like, I think I could do this. But then I looked at Muhammad Ali. I was like, nah. Not for me. There's really no glory in winning. Like, you be the undisputed king of dementia. And I wasn't trying to be that guy. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Wow.
But when I was 14, one day I just decided I want to sing. And I started writing songs when I was 8. And so I gave myself the task of filling out one composition notebook. It was 100 pages in it. I said, if I can do this, I'll do it for real. And I practiced every day. From 14 to 17, all I did was practice and write. By the time I graduated high school, I had 300 songs written.
Oh wow!
And I could sing all of it.
Impressive.
So now I don't even write anything down. Like there's no lyric sheet for any of those songs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting. So Michelle, what is it about Jay that made you want to manage him?
I liked his whole setup. Like, honestly, I thought he had management. When he told me he didn't, I was really blown away because he had things really, really together. And to have done it all on his own, I was truly, truly impressed.
Okay.
So over the last year, you know, we still stayed in contact with each other. He would send me videos. He would send, you know, just run stuff by me, things that was in his mind. You know, and we just stayed connected like that. And then we just happened to be talking one day, texting, and I said something. I said, "I'm free. I'm not doing anything." And he was like, "Oh, when can we meet? When can we do this?" And so then we sat down and we talked, and he was like, "Okay, when you gonna get my contract? I need my contract. We need to do this, that, and the other." And it just went straight on in, and we just, soon as we signed the contract, the ball was rolling. Things we had to get done, because once I did my full assessment, because I don't just assess you as a person, but I have to assess your social media, and then I have a social media specialist. Shout out to Singleton. She's everything, and when I say everything, she's everything. New Hope Digital. I did my assessment. I gave her what I saw, and then she goes in and she does her full assessment, and she gives you a write-up. And so we immediately got on the ball with that, revamping some things, changing some things, and he's open. He likes to listen. Not that he takes everything I say that's what we got to do, but I kind of can think, like, because we've communicated for over a year, I kind of know his thinking. Okay. So, like, when I come to him, I'm coming to him like I know he's going to more likely say yes, because I know or he may say, let's just tweak it just a little bit. Let's add this to it, which is something that I didn't even think of most of the time.
Okay.
Wasn't that it was anything wrong with what I said, but he like, can we add this to it? And so like Friday, we were right on the ball. Literally in 45 minutes, we did 3 videos, photo shoot, everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
And everything just went really well because this past weekend he celebrated 1 year. This past Saturday, the 4th, he celebrated 1 year of the release of Imperfect Gentleman. So we were trying to get some things done, and we got a video done and all of that. And so, like I said, he's very open. He's just like, I can't say the perfect child, but he's just the one that literally makes you enjoy what you're doing. And he's making me enjoy this on so many levels.
Yeah, and it's a trust between the two of you. So you can make suggestions and know that it'll be received well because you all have a great rapport with one another, and you can kind of see the chemistry as the two of you sit here, because you'll start a sentence and then she'll come right in and bring it home.
Yeah. And with us too, it's a team thing. It's like I said, it's like a sports team. You have to be able to trust who you're on the team with. Like if I'm the quarterback, you know what I mean, she's the wide receiver. I'm throwing these crazy ideas. Like what impresses me, she's always ready for whatever I throw.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I may tell her something crazy. Like I want to do a show on Mars, and she'll be like, okay, cool. And I won't think about it anymore. And she'll call me like, did you see the emails? I found a way to get you on Mars.
Right.
And it's 10 emails in that day. And I'm like, word.
She's on time. She's definitely on time.
But she also knows that when I come through with anything, if I say I got a record, if it's time for a show, she knows that I'm going to deliver.
Right.
We're going to give them everything that was promised of ESQUIRE. You're going to get it.
Right.
And probably more.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? No pun intended. But even if we're doing a show for free, it's gonna feel like you paid for it. You know what I mean? I'm gonna sing my ass off. So that's pretty much where we are with it. I know they're gonna work, and I love the fact that she just lets me. She lets me be creative where I'm creative, and I do the same for her.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And that's what you need. We don't step on each other's toes. It's not an ego thing of like, well, I'm the singer, so I've done this already, listen to me, or well, I've done this, so listen to me. It's a meeting of the minds.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
It's
And
like
I appreciate
the ideal dream team.
yeah, you gotta have that.
So I love it. Like I said, I love her commitment, her level of commitment. It's like anything that she sets her mind to do, she's able to pull it off. And it's not about ego. It's just about how passionate she is about taking things to the next level. So anytime I get an email from her, man, I might have to rub my eyes a little bit, kind of read it. Because she don't send you anything like at 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning. You wake up and you might have about 2 or 3 emails waiting.
We're both early birds, so I'll do the same. It'd be 5:47. I'll be like,
I'll
good
get a
morning.
text and be like,
listen, I need a jacuzzi on stage by 7, and I need you to make that happen.
And you need people that, like, I sit up late. I'm usually up till 2 or 3 o'clock, and then I wake up at about 6:30 or 7. But by then, I've already received 2 or 3 emails from her. So
I try to be very timely in my response.
Yes, and then, like, if you reply to her email, it never takes her more than about 15 minutes to respond back. And I love that. And I have a lot of respect for that. It's like she's always on her game. And so you need more people like that, What's your favorite song on his album?
Oh, I was beating myself up because when I did my real analyzation of it, I was going to Virginia.
Okay.
And I put it in, and I called them as soon as I got parked at the house, and I said, oh my gosh.
You didn't pick a song.
I didn't pick a song that day.
Really?
Like every song.
Okay.
Like that day, I was like, I need every song. I was like, I need every song. That's how I was that day. But I want to say, I'm gonna say "Sexy Thing" is mine.
Yeah,
that's that other side of me.
Exactly. It's like it takes you somewhere. Like
Right.
you know, in my mind, I'm I'm a lot of different things on "Sexy Things." You know, it's like
Right.
oh, wait a minute. So you mean I can pull out the whips and handcuffs and stuff like that? It's that song, and I listened to that. I listened to more first, but then when I got to "Sexy Things," it's like, oh.
Then you had to go back and play it again.
Yeah, I had to turn the fan on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's that, and you know, we're gonna play "Sexy Things" because I want you all to understand what I'm talking about. So it's. I would just encourage everybody, you know, if you're on SoundCloud, to definitely check out J. Esquire. And how can people get in touch with you?
Facebook, facebook.com/J Esquire Music, JESQ Music.
Okay.
Instagram, J Esquire Music, JESQ_music, as well as Twitter, JESQ_music.
Okay.
And the album Imperfect Gentleman is available for streaming on iTunes, Tidal, Google Play, Spotify, anywhere. Some of the records on, actually the album is on Pandora, it's on iHeartRadio. It's anywhere your streaming can be, my album is.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we performing this weekend down in DC at the
Rise the Demolition. Rise Demolition.
What she said.
It's on MLK. 2730 MLK.
Okay.
Lord.
Bam.
Okay.
Bam.
Okay.
There we go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Southeast. He's performing as a
Okay.
comedy show, but you know that's the new thing. It's like, yeah, you come out for some comedy, but why not get a nice little,
Absolutely.
nice
You want
little
the full-
entertainment of
yeah.
some music, and so he's going to have the opportunity to perform down there. Shout out to Stiletto for giving us that opportunity, and she has a nice lineup. So
Okay.
you can get your tickets right on Eventbrite. It's all on his Facebook page, Instagram, on my Facebook page. So you are more than welcome to get your tickets right online, and we would love to see you in the place.
Okay.
Let us know you there.
That's
Good
awesome.
music, good comedy.
Yeah,
Can't
that's
ask for
pretty
better
cool.
than
Can't go wrong with a good mix like
Nah,
that.
not at all.
And it's Mother's Day weekend, so you know.
That's right.
Bam.
Exactly.
Good
Let's
gift.
get to the song, man. We've been
Okay,
talking about
that's
the
right.
music.
Yeah, let's-
I want to hear the music. I got it queued up. I'm ready.
Sexy thing.
Oh, we gonna be sexy thing. All right, let me load it up.
Okay.
Sexy thing.
You sexy thing, you.
Hey, man.
Nate, they talking about you, Nate.
That's how the
Let's go,
sandwiches
y'all.
feel about you, bro. That's how the sandwiches feel about you. It's okay, man.
You're never
It's
going to
okay.
live that one down.
Y'all ready?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Let's do it.
I'm gonna lay you down. I'll play in your head. I'll do what you like. Anything, girl, I don't care. Hey, wait another minute. I'm so focused. Ooh, you got me open. I've been waiting this so long to get you here where you belong. And I'm gonna give it all to you. Hurry, girl, let me show you.
Okay.
You can go places in your mind when you're listening to that song.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You have any questions for J. Esquire, call us at 855-493-6499. And let's talk about this Sexy Things. What inspired that song?
Well, truth be told, that record was written for another artist to sing.
Okay.
And he was at the time he was coming up from wherever he's coming from. He's coming from out of state, and he was close. He said, "Listen, I'll be there in an hour. I need a song." And he was paying, so we were like, "Okay, he needs a song." And within 20 minutes, I had the demo to that done.
Wow.
And right before we were set to record it, he decided he didn't want it.
Okay.
So it just kind of lingered around for a while. But the version that you hear was actually finished the day that Prince died. I did 2 records.
Wow.
And I said to my engineer, if we don't get these right, they don't come out. Because it was such an impactful and important day.
Right.
And so went in there and just knocked it out. We did that, and we did the song "Sexy" with it, which was the first single off the album, in a session in about 2 hours, 3 hours. So, yeah, I think people like that song because I take my time on that one. You know, it's a much cleaner approach to my singing on that record, and you know, it's detailed. It always reminded me of, like, without trying to be like it, like Seems Like You're Ready. It's just that that one melody all the way through. It's melodic. It's it's kind of sparse in its music and in its vocals. So, but that is one of my favorite songs off the album.
Yeah, so, I love that. Wow. I love that. I'm just saying.
If it's your favorite song, you are a freak.
And I own my shit, okay?
Oh, that's right.
Good stuff, good stuff.
Nick, what you think about it?
I like it. You know, anytime you can mix somebody's stuff with something else, that's my DJ test.
Yeah.
Because that's my first time. I haven't listened to it. Since I got the email, I haven't listened to it. So I like it. I mean, you know, I like it.
Thank you.
I think it can do some things.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Well, you could do some things.
Facts.
Message.
Dr. Love.
First time hearing it, you know, definitely on point.
Thank you.
Definitely on point. It's definitely going to be it reminds me, as soon as I heard it, it reminds me of a feel of Jamie Foxx.
Okay.
That DJ Won't You Play the love song.
Oh, like
but that's what I mixed with.
Playing like
So,
okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
See how the DJ be on point? You know what I mean? So as soon as I heard it, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. So, but yeah, definitely. Good job. Excellent job.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I definitely appreciate that.
So as a kid coming up, coming from a musical family, did you ever tour with your dad?
Not tour, but I was at everything.
Okay.
By the time recording sessions, I was at rehearsals, sound checks, shows backstage.
Okay.
Yeah, I did a show with your father.
Oh yeah.
A little time ago.
Oh, word.
About 3 years ago.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, I was DJing one of their shows.
Okay.
Yeah,
I've been able to, I've had the opportunity.
They had them cougars.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. you should see him trying to get backstage. It's
Oh
crazy.
my God, I can imagine.
It's
Like I
you-
said,
I always feel like you haven't outgrown that yet, miss.
Hey.
But
that's I think that's really cool. And like I said, Love Minus One has got to be one of my favorite songs. And what was the other? I love Love Minus One. Like I play that every day. I can remember who I had a big crush on when that song came out.
Oh wow.
That
would trip him out to know that
yeah,
you know that song.
I play it every day. It's in my playlist.
See the cougar.
And, well, I don't know. I mean, compared to me, the dad would be robbing the cradle.
Yeah, he's definitely
Well, what do they call the old men? Sugar daddies?
Sugar daddies, exactly.
Okay.
I love Carla, my love. I love
And I have a sister named Carla.
Really?
Yeah,
I wondered about that.
My oldest.
Okay.
The oldest is Carla. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
they had so many hits.
Yeah.
And I think after a while, I remember at one point, Love Minus One didn't receive a whole lot of airplay at one time. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I used to be like, why the hell not? Because it was a great song.
Even though they were, singing in the traditional style at that time, they still went against the grain. Their songs were different. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
It wasn't a very predictable sound, and his falsetto was
oh my God, off the chain. Yes.
Those guys wasn't dealing with him. He was singing in a way that they all wished they could. You know what I mean? So it I think it rubs some people the wrong way. You know, when you got these groups that you've invested all of this money in, and then you get this group that just comes up with something totally different, and they a problem, and they could do what you do better than you do what you did. That's a threat.
Exactly.
So.
I always felt like they never got the credit that they should have gotten, because they were just phenomenal. I'm Gonna Prove It.
I think that's my favorite.
Yes. Oh my God. Like, I could just go on and on, but they just made timeless classics, and I felt like they were just always underrated. But they were probably the most talented group at that time. And maybe they didn't know how to market them.
And that was, I think that was a part of it.
Yeah.
Well, because at that time it was so many groups.
Yeah.
It was like, how do you market that when you have every group had a falsetto singer in it? You know what I mean? And
it's that throwback right
that's
there.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh my God.
So they went through that, I think. But the beauty in that they taught me that young was that sometimes the fame is not worth the quality. You know what I mean? I mean, the Saltones have like 10 albums.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And that everywhere your favorite artist has been in the world, they went first. You know what I mean? They did Japan. They did all over Europe and all these different places.
Yeah, they need to be on Unsung. Baltimore needs some Unsung.
But they never strayed from... They always had that. I love their sound. They never watered their sound down.
Never compromised.
And I think that's what makes them a great group. They were always committed to the music they loved. And I think I could, if they were performing somewhere, I would definitely want to go, because every song that they came out with, I can think of the guy that I liked at the time, or where I was
you do that with
when
every
that
song.
Don't
you be
judge
doing that
me,
with every
damn
song.
it.
But see, that's when the song is real. Like,
absolutely.
You can remember where you were and what you were doing. So but they definitely. I mean, their movement was. I mean, they were one of the first independent like artists. Like, they had a record called Any Street back in 1971 when they were about 18 years old.
Okay.
And they sold 30,000 independent, 30,000 records, 30,000 45s, independent between here, DC, Philly, Delaware, and like Virginia. As a matter of fact, it sold the same amount of records as the Jackson 5 when they first came out.
Wow.
They both did 30,000 at the same time.
That's impressive.
Yeah, they were like heat seekers. It was just that the Jacksons had the machine
they
behind
had
them.
Right, exactly.
And the Saltones were just, they were indie. But and then, my dad was actually supposed to replace Eddie Kendricks in the Temptations.
Okay. Wow.
And at the last minute, he decided not to take the flight. Like, Eddie picked him. Eddie Kendricks said, I'm leaving. There's a kid in Baltimore that I want to replace me. Oddly enough, he was replaced by a guy from Baltimore named Damon Harris.
Right.
He wanted my dad to replace him, and he loved my dad. So, maybe one day you get him on the show and he can, they can tell you some stories. Their stories.
Yeah.
That would be really
something
cool.
else hilarious.
Somebody should make a movie about it.
You know who used to play their music a lot? The station back in the day, WEBB.
Yeah.
They used to play a lot of their music, but when They didn't really show them that kind of love. At least I didn't think
Tim Watts did.
I know Tim Watts did. Yeah, exactly.
Lolo, but when they start, like as soon as they started getting in, the regime they have now,
it was more commercial.
Yeah, they filtered out all of that.
Yeah, all that real music.
They don't play album cuts.
Tim
they play
Watts
singles.
was a huge fan of the soft tones, and he was the only one I felt that would bring a lot of that music to the forefront. So
that's because radio was radio back then.
Was absolutely.
It's different now. That's why everybody is doing internet radio.
Yeah,
because you can create your own. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow.
I mean, my his music and even with mine, like the internet radio has allowed us to be heard everywhere and all of the time. Like Imperfect Gentleman plays all around the world all the time. So that, but again, like just when I was a kid and I decided to do it, he was like, "Listen, you're gonna have to. You can't just be a singer. That's nice. You can sing great.
Yeah, but
you got to learn how to write and produce and arrange your own records. You need to learn about publishing. You need to produce your own stuff."
So was he like a Joe Jackson type father?
No. He's super cool. He challenged me more than anything. He would make me come over. Like when I lived between him and my mom a lot. So when I got older, what he would do was he would make me come over on a Saturday, and we would sit for maybe 4 hours quietly and just listen to everything that he had. And he'd be like, "Your voice reminds me of this. This is what you need in it. I noticed this about your voice." So
basically, he was prepping you.
Oh yeah,
without you knowing you getting
prepped. Without being like you're gonna sing like this and no sing, and he would give pointers on how to sing. And when I first started, when I was in groups, we started doing talent shows. We used to wear sunglasses because my father would sit in the front row and would be literally directing us as we singing, like step away from the mic, come back up some. Make that hum. You're a little flat. You're a little sharp. There you go. Perfect. Right there. And we would be. It would look like we're looking out, but we would be looking at him. We would be looking at him. So
I love that.
He used to tell us like, okay, wear sunglasses because I'm going to be directing you. He would make us do sound check, and it just made us better. Even if it was a bad show, he'd be like, "Good. You needed that. You needed to not be good." And he would tell us like, "You were horrible tonight. Your harmony was up." And he was like, we were like that. He like the soft tones did that too. You know what I mean? He called them hit and miss shows.
Right.
So he'd be like, "You had a bad night." You know what I mean? It really wasn't good. But the next time you'll appreciate when it's good, and you'll work hard because you don't like how it feels when you don't do well. You didn't like that somebody else came on and got all the shine that you thought that y'all were gonna get. So it was a lot of that.
I love that. I think that was one of the things I admired about Gerald Levert and Eddie Levert's relationship. He groomed him. I don't think he really wanted him to go into the industry, but he was there to offer professional criticism and just to give him the do's and don'ts of the music industry. And I think the more he learned, the more passionate he became about it. But he didn't go into the industry with blinders on. So I think you have a knowledge that some people didn't have the luxury of receiving. And it probably made you a better and stronger artist as a result. So kudos to your dad.
Thank you. He was very unorthodox in his training. He would do stuff like have the sound man turn the mic all the way up on us, turn him back down, and see if we would notice or if we would keep singing. All kinds of stuff. He would make it so like sound check we sound perfect. And then you would see him whisper, and he'd be like, I had him turn his mic down and yours up and then yours back down.
Right, okay.
Just to see if we really, because he was like, if you'll keep going, you really want it. So you'll be able to get through these things. And you know what I mean? He'd be like, when I was younger, we sung on bad PA systems and, be distorted and sounding bad.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it makes you sound like you
still
can't sing.
That still happens, right,
Yeah, we did, what was that, Sizzle? And I mean, I've done shows where the house monitors go. I did the Apollo, and the house monitor went out in the middle. There was 2 house monitors on the stage, went out in the middle of us singing, and we killed. But you have to be ready for those type of things.
Because things happen.
Oh, they happen
all the time that you don't have any control over. But you got to keep moving because that you're there to perform. So you can't let one thing distract you.
But you don't understand, though. I'm going to tell you, there's so many artists that literally will stop, get upset, fuss at the DJ, fuss at the sound people, all of that.
Yeah, I believe it.
And instead of just going on, if you're good at your craft, you don't need
none of that would
all
matter.
that stuff don't matter.
Yeah,
but it's
exactly.
so many of them that do, and especially when you get into some of these hip hop artists.
Okay.
Don't even get me started.
Right? You get into some of these hip hop artists, and like now it's getting so. They've always done it where they had the tape. I mean, the music where they're rapping over it, but some of them, you can tell they still don't even know
their own lyrics.
They still don't know their own lyrics. You're absolutely.
And that's crazy.
You know what I hate? When people come to me, cause I do live sound for live bands and all that, I do everything. They come to me with their song on their phone. I hate it. I hate it with a passion.
Say that, huh?
I hate it with a passion. Do not. It's some things that you got to do, and some what they call them, do's and don'ts.
But that's being lazy. I mean,
when an artist hand me their phone to play that stuff, I'll be like, man, I can't do it. You need to send me an email.
Right.
Bring it to me on a CD. I even take a flash drive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Do not give me your phone.
Right.
Oh, you don't got the hookup.
Oh, really?
But you know what? It's a way to finesse that. Like even earlier with him, when his mic was off, he jokingly said, "Turn me up in the headphones."
Yeah.
That's a suggestion, like my man, turn that joint up, and it's a way to do it.
Yeah.
And again, my father taught us signals. He would be like, "Hey, can you?" He would be like,
"Yeah, right."
Absolutely.
And you do this real quick, and he'd be like, you go over closer to the sound man,
right?
Yeah.
And do that to him, or you
right.
know, like. Or even in the middle of it, like, you'll turn me up.
The speakers is like...
Right, it's a certain way how to do it. You know what I mean?
Singing, and then if you got a breath, you say house monitors.
Right.
You know
right, because everybody's ear is different.
Monitors, yeah.
That's true.
Feel what I'm saying? One time, I ain't gonna lie, I was... This is so funny. Dude that was singing, I didn't know he was deaf in one ear.
Okay.
His manager came on like, yo, he deaf in one ear. You gotta turn up all the monitors on his left. I said, oh, yo, for real? Gosh. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, wow. It kind of threw me off because I never ran into that.
Okay.
Because he like, I can't hear. And he kept pointing to his... I guess he was so much into his show, he was pointing to his deaf ear.
Okay.
So I was like, yo, this is funny. You know what I mean? But stuff like that happens.
I don't think there's too many shows that something doesn't happen.
Right.
Even if you know what I mean?
You
even
expect
if,
the unexpected.
Even if it's Jay-Z, you know what I mean? Or Beyonce, something is going to happen that
Absolutely.
maybe we don't notice, but they might be like, oh, the keyboards is missing. You know,
right,
or they're mixing their
right.
inner ears may not be right. You know what I mean? And they sitting there trying to figure themselves out, but they keep going. You know what I mean? But if you're a perfectionist, you get ready for that. Because even in rehearsal, you get mic feedback, you get mics that go out, you get
because it's all about
mic stand
placement.
falls in the middle, you singing and all kinds of stuff like that. So you,
and the first person they blame is the sound man.
Right, of course.
Always.
You know what? I only have a problem if you know what my mix is. You know what I mean? If we've worked it out now, if it's something where we all winging it, such is life. But if I come to you with my band and I'm like, this needs to be turned up, or you know, I need this here, and we've gone over it, and I've seen you write down
the notes,
the chain of command, and you don't use it, and I like, you know, with my album, like I sat in on I designed the mixes, I had an engineer, but I knew what I wanted, so I know what it's supposed to sound like. So if it's a thing where you know what I mean, and I mean it can be annoying.
And
like
you know what,
the music starts before you cue it and all that. But
some artists will bring their own sound man.
Yeah,
cause I was my sound man for my cousin Steven, and wherever he performed, he brought me because I knew his stuff. Right, I already had his DAT tape. I had everything managed. So all that I had to do was look at the board, do my little studying. What this board do, then I'm good. But some artists already bring their sound person, the pre-check stuff, or to run the board while they performing.
I actually had the engineer on my album do a few of my shows. You know, just depending on if it was in Baltimore, but you know when I travel abroad. You know, it's funny though. Certain cities, they have people that are just bred for those things. I've been places, and the sound man, they never heard me a day in his life, but just some kind of way he just knew what it took
you on
to.
point.
Oh my God! And you can't help but look over at him like, you knew this? And you see him doing it with a passion.
Yeah.
You know, I went to see KC from Jodeci did a show recently in somewhere Bethesda, and I was watching the sound guy, and it was a young dude. He's mixing with just so much love, and he's just, I mean, pressing the buttons. And I remember because he had like a blonde cut, and he was just a young black dude. I mean, just jamming. And every once in a while I would look over to see, and when the songs got somber, I would watch how he faded stuff, and then when it was over, he was going to all the artists, giving them the notes and being like, "Did you like the mix? Is it something I could have done better for the next show? You know, I noticed, you know, this was happening or that. If you sounded like," I remember he told somebody, like, you started going a little flat, so I turned the music up.
Okay.
So it was easy to cover up those notes. You know what I mean? And when you came on, I turned the keyboards back down. When you got back on, that's necessary. It's rare, but it's necessary.
Right. Wow.
Especially when you're spending that money. Yeah. Whatever you like. Whatever you like.
Right. You brought up a point early on in the show about being able to see the music. I'm a big fan of Jimi Hendrix. And if he couldn't see the music, he couldn't feel it. And I thought that was an excellent point that you made, because he lived by that. If he couldn't see it, he couldn't play.
There are people that say they see colors when they hear music. Like Pharrell says that all the time. I see energies, and maybe it is the colors as well.
Right.
Because again, more is blue to me.
Yeah.
You know, Sexy Things is the color red to me. You know, so, but I just, one thing that bothers me is it always sounds like now people just make music for it's beautiful that you do it for the fun of it.
Right.
But there's a kid out there that really is about his or her game that could be out here doing this thing because they know they're about to save a life. You know what I mean? Or they know how important their music could be. Right. You know what I mean? And what they're building. You know, it's funny. Like, everybody loves Nipsey Hussle right now. I had Victory Lap when it came out last year. And I remember thinking, like, this is probably going to be, if people pay attention, this album is going to be important. Like, it was, you could hear it. You could hear that he took his time. Yeah. You could hear that he knew the people he was going to be talking to. You could hear his trajectory in it. You know what I mean? And you don't always hear that. Most music, a lot of times, sounds self-indulgent. Like, it just sounds like the artist liked it and a couple of their friends, and it was like, and the labels don't care anymore because they look at it like, well, you have the Instagram followers. So. Right. And that doesn't equate to sales.
I didn't realize that until I saw a post the other day how, I forget the kid's name, but he got signed based on his Instagram following.
Several.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was a thing.
Soulja Boy.
You know.
And that's how some of the venues now, when you're trying to get in and you want to have events, the venues want to see, they want to know the artist, they want to see pictures of the artist, they want to go on their Instagram, they want to make sure they have an open page so they can see it, they want to be able to see their fan page on Facebook, and they're looking at their numbers. And if your numbers, because they want to know that you can sell tickets, you can move these tickets, even if you are nothing but a up-and-coming artist, or you're someone who's not even the headliner. You could be just, the opener. They want to make sure your numbers is going to do something. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. They're like, I don't know why I'm not getting any opportunities. You got to make sure you build your numbers.
And that's the thing. I think people don't understand how social media works.
Yes.
I look at people in my field as far as intimacy coaching, and I look at their content, and then I look at my content. So I I looked at where they got the most numbers, why, as opposed to why one post did better than the other. And so then I started studying Instagram. And I'm serious, because I went from 400 followers. I think now I'm probably at 3,600 now. And it's still growing. And so now companies are starting to send me messages, right? Can you promote my brand? But it is a science to that. You know, the time
algorithm
of day,
to it all.
Exactly, the time of day and the hashtags. People always ask me, why do you use so many hashtags? Because that is the thing right now. I get followers based on my hashtags. You know, it's a big deal. A lot of times I pre-schedule posts because I don't have time to be on there all day long, and I'm a one-man team. So I schedule for like a week at a time with some things because it's work. And if you're not going to commit to doing that work and you're still at a standstill, it's because of the effort, the lack of effort that you're putting into it. Everything plays off of
everything.
So, yeah, exactly. So you got to commit all the way around. You can't half-ass. If you half-ass, you're going to stay stagnant. It took me a long time to learn that. And my son and my little brother was like, oh, you're not using hashtags? I was like, what the hell is that? So once they put me down to it, I started doing my own research. And that's what you have to do. And you have to make sure you stay relevant. You know, if music is what you do, then you need to promote that as much as you can. You can't wait for it to come to you. You got to get out in front of it.
Absolutely.
You know, I think that's why a lot of people, that's the difference between successful people and not so successful people. I think some of it is being lazy, thinking it's going to come to you. You can have the talent, but if you're not putting the work into it, what the hell is that?
But they get to fizzle out. They start off real strong. They want all this, and then when they see you got to really do the work, that the work is real.
It's work.
The work is real.
Yes, it is.
Once they see the work is real,
and that's the thing. You gotta love it. If you're doing it just for the monetary benefit of it,
you're gonna be so disappointed.
Exactly, because it takes a long time, but you have to be passionate about what you're doing. And what works for Jay might not work for Nate, you know. So, and that's another thing. You can't compare yourself to other people because you are your greatest power source, and your delivery of something may be totally different than his. You know, so you got to keep all of that in mind.
And you know what I say, Jackie? I think us black people always trying to have a competition with the next person.
Exactly.
You got to get out.
That's the Willie Lynch thing.
You gotta just do what you do and be the best at what you do.
Absolutely. And I tell my team that even with her, like, let's run our own race.
Absolutely.
Now, you definitely want to incorporate some things that seem to be working, period. But, you know, one of the things that surprised me was my numbers on my album. Like, my Instagram numbers weren't really good.
Okay.
But my streams were in the thousands all last year, non-stop. But, you know, again, though, one thing that will blow your mind is how disappointing that money is.
Exactly.
Those streams are, they just look good. Like, somebody be like, I got 1 million streams. That's pitiful when they get that check. It's like, what is 1 million? Like, they don't even give you $1. Like, if you gave everybody $1 per stream, we'd all be everybody would be living great.
So what is it, like 20 cents?
No, I wish. It's 0.000000040
So when you get to 1 million,
it's a fraction of a dollar. I mean, of a penny.
Wow.
You make more off endorsements.
Okay.
1 million streams is like $60,000 maybe, and I may be being generous. Like, I put it to you like this: Pharrell had the record Happy. It was streamed at the time. It was streamed like 65 million times.
Okay.
When streaming first got big, he got a check for $2,000.
Wow.
$2,000. Now the labels, and they say that they pay out to the labels, but when you're an indie artist and you set it up right, you're like, how did you pay them?
Exactly.
If I'm independent and getting all of my money, and this is all I get. I know people who made $1.17.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I always call it like the new edition check. Like, in that movie, like my first single did that for me. I think I made $8. My first check was like $8. And then it was 16. But the thing about it was, I knew people who hadn't even done $8.
Right,
and they like,
okay.
You made, like, they were literally like, oh, you made $16? I'm like, yeah, man. They like, that's great. I only made 47 cents. So,
wow.
You know, it can't be for the money.
Can it get cheese with that?
Right. And look, if you want to keep your music on those platforms, you have to pay the distributor like a royalty every year.
Right.
So for me, I may take out the first amount of money, like the first check. I might cut myself the first check to do whatever I need to do, and then I'll leave like when it accumulates $40, I never touch it again. It's going to cost you around that to keep the album on, the singles on, to keep you on because they do put you on playlists, and you get a lot of attention if because they do listen to your music, and if they like it, they put it all over the place. So it's a lot more give than take, and again, you've got to really love it and be excited about it and all that. And people, you look at stuff and be like, man, Beyonce did this, and it's like, but you don't know how much it costs to do that.
Exactly.
You don't know how much work. You don't know how many times they probably told her no.
Yeah.
Even as who she is, they were like, no, nah. Like they like the Coachella thing. She probably tried to do that 10 times before they actually finally said, okay, yeah. And as an artist, you have to pay to do Coachella. Yeah. You pay for your stage. You pay for your sound. They provide the free promotion.
Right. Okay.
So you've got to know these things as an artist going through, and that's a lot of the things that I study. So for me, because I didn't want to go and like my father was like, the worst thing about it is it's disappointing.
Yeah.
If you let it, if you go in thinking I'm just going to sing and get paid, you are sadly mistaken. So he was like, learn everything. Like I had publishing before I was 20.
Okay.
Didn't even have a record out. Like my father had to co-sign my publishing contract. So, but these things are very important, and a lot of artists, once they find out that they got to do that, and it's really not that much work. I mean, it's just a matter of calling and getting the information. They don't want to do it anymore.
But it's about the commitment to yourself, and how much of that, how much you believe in you. Because if you don't have that belief in what you're doing, or you're not passionate about what you're doing, you're going to fail. Because you're not willing to invest in you. And I think a lot of people don't understand you have to constantly invest in what you're doing. Constantly. And if you're looking to get rich quick, it's not happening.
It does not happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Even
you
with
gotta
your
work.
advance, even if you get an advance, like it's an advance.
Yeah.
But the thing that always saddens me is that we all know the infrastructure, and then everybody thinks that they're gonna break it and be this thing, and you look at like a Taylor Swift and all that. It's like those endorsements made her rich.
Exactly.
Not that contract.
Not that contract.
I mean, she may get something, or and it may be all right, but compared to what her payout is, as she ain't really making no money off of that. She's making. They make money off of everything else.
Yeah.
I think that we've become better at monetizing, tours and merchandise and things of that nature.
We are starting to understand it a lot better now than probably back in the day. I always admired Otis Redding because he owned a lot of his music and long before, and Sam Cooke, and I think James Brown owned. James Brown,
Michael Jackson owned.
Right, they understood that just on the music you can't have a big income. You gotta get involved with ownership of your music. So I think nowadays artists are learning a lot more than probably some of the artists of back in the day, that so many of them ended up broke, not understanding the business side of things.
Absolutely. And that's what everybody, I mean, even in sports, you get somebody gets an $86 million contract, and in 4 years they're broke.
Yeah.
How does that happen?
Yeah.
And you're consistently working.
Yeah, but I think to some of it is mismanagement.
Absolutely.
Because you want to go out and buy all of these expensive cars, you can only drive one.
But I because that's the status quo.
Some of it is mismanagement.
Absolutely.
Because you want to go out and buy all of these expensive cars, you can only drive one. But I
because that's the status quo.
some of it is mismanagement.
Absolutely.
Because you want to go out and buy all of these expensive cars, you can only drive one. But I
because that's the status quo.
follow mismanagement.
Absolutely.
Because you want to go out and buy all of these expensive cars, you can only drive one. But I
because that's the status quo.
Absolutely. Because you want to go out and buy all of these expensive cars, you can only drive one. But I think that's why we're mismanagement.
Absolutely.
Because you want to go out and buy all of these expensive cars, you can only drive one. But I think that's why we're mismanagement. Because you want to go out and buy all of these expensive cars, you can only drive one. I think that's why we're mismanagement. Because you want to go out and buy all of these expensive cars, you can only drive one. I think that's why we're mismanagement. Because you want to go out and buy all of these expensive cars, you can only drive one. I think that's why we're mismanagement. Because you want to go out and buy all of these expensive cars, you can only drive one. I think that's why we're mismanagement. Because you want to go out and buy all of these expensive cars, you can only drive one. I think that's why we're mismanagement. Because you want to go out and buy all of these expensive cars, you can only drive one. I think that's why we're mismanagement. Because you want to go out and buy all of these expensive cars, you can only drive one. I think that's why we're mismanagement. Because you want to go out and buy all of these expensive cars, you can only drive one. I think that's why we're mismanagement. Because you want to go out and buy all of these expensive cars, you can only drive one. I think that's why we're mismanagement. Because you want to go out and buy all of these expensive cars, you can only drive one. I think that's why we're mismanagement. Because you want to go out and buy all of these expensive cars, you can only drive one. I think that's why we're mismanagement. Because you want to go out and buy all of these expensive cars, you can only drive one. I think that's why we're mismanagement. Because you want to go out and buy all of these expensive cars, you can only drive one. I think that's why we're mismanagement. Because you want to go out and buy all of these expensive cars, you can only drive one. I think that's why we're mismanagement. Because you want to go out and buy all of these expensive cars, you can only drive one. I think that's why we're mismanagement. Don't mess them up because the rest one don't tell them. Exactly. Exactly. And they're trying to because the rest